Hello there, boys and girls, and welcome again to another episode of Road to Rome 2, the series where we get psyched up about Rome 2, getting closer and closer every living minute by playing the one and the only, the original Rome Total War. And today's faction, as per popular demand yet again, is Carthage. Yes, Carthage. So recently I've been playing I would say more difficult to play factions. Germania, Gaul, Scythia require a lot more micro. Carthage is more of a sort of standard faction, if you like to call it that in this game. And now, yeah. So let's take a look at the army first, and then we'll talk a little bit about, what Carthage was and who they were, if you're interested. So I've got 6 units of slingers, and I've given them gold, bronze. The reason I give them bronze in the shield compartment sort of defense thing is that so they could exchange skirmishing, so that they could skirmish with the enemy a little bit better. They can take hits a little bit better, and they'll survive longer. And then I have 2 units of these skirmishers. They're kind of hidden. And I've brought these because I anticipated my Roman opponent to bring a lot of urban cohorts. And then I have 5 of these Sacred Band hoplites at the core of my army. They have gold, bronze. Over here, for my cavalry, I've got 5 units of Sacred Band cav. And I've given them gold and silver. And I also have 2 units of these long shield cavalry. And they have gold, silver as well. So I've got a really powerful cav contingent. I'm going to misuse it in this battle, though. So the first thing I want to do is send my guys forward and hopefully see if my opponent is going to be shooting some peel at me. He doesn't have them at fire at will, so there's the first sign that my opponent is actually a skilled player. So here we go. I'm running forward with my cavalry, and I want to sort of catch his cav off guard. I know his cav is very powerful. He's got a bunch of Praetorian cav. He's got 1, 2 Praetorian cav, and then he's got 3 Praetorian cav, 2 Roman cav. I should be able to take them out if I micro properly. Over here in the center, I think he has 4, or is it 3 Archer Auxilia, and then he has 5 urban cohorts. A lot of upgrades on his units. It's going to be very difficult for me to really do anything. So my plan is to initially take on the Romans in the field with cavalry, and then I'll be able to handle the rest of his army. Now, more realistically, the Romans wouldn't fielded cavalry to the quality of the Praetorians, just because Praetorians are really, really good in this game, and they beat something that Carthage is pretty much known for, and it's their powerful cav. So I am doing well though in the cav fight here. I'm doing well here. I sort of lost one of my sacred bands in that vicinity, but he's losing cav. I lost some cav, but it's going well. In the main fight, my opponent pushes his line forward. He still hasn't done his peel around. Now he does, but my guys are going to be close enough so that I can put my phalanxes down and get right into the business. There we go. Shoot right into these guys, and the frontline battle has started. All of my skirmishing units are behind the line. They're not going to be doing a lot of damage. For the cav fight, I did kind of well. I took out a lot of my opponent's cavalry, but his Praetorians remain. The 3 Praetorians remain. I'm going to try a quick charge here. He's going to turn around and meet it really well. I try to exit out, but it doesn't work. So my opponent is doing a really, really good job here at sort of maintaining his line. And he's got reserves. He's using his reserves. He knows his urbans can hold, and he's using his reserves. And you can see that I've taken my hoplites off of guard mode so that they can actually start pushing into my opponent's line, but it's not happening because those urbans are way too powerful. I do sneak in a charge here, but it's really not going to do a lot of damage. I'm trying to distract with this one to try and get a free charge with this Sacred Band cavalry. He catches me, but I still managed to get a clean charge, I think in the one in the middle. Do I? Oh no, I charge his cavalry back. So trying to countercharge his cavalry, and I change my mind again. Wow, keep changing my mind. And that's not a charge bonus at all. Wow. I just basically that was a free charge at the rears of his men, and that probably was a big moment in the battle. So big cav fight is going on here. I'm thinking my cavalry can beat his, but not really. 3 Praetorians are going to beat 3 Sacred Bands any day. So he is going to now have the cav superiority. My infantry is not actually doing too bad. We're actually doing quite well. He's trying to get around my lines. He did send one of his urban cohorts here to the right. I tried to intercept with my slingers. And that's going to kind of slow them down and give my flank a little bit more time to react. But my flank is still under a lot of trouble. So I know the point of this series, or in the description, it would say that I want to win with every faction, but this battle was way too awesome, and I think my opponent did a really good job at using what he had. I mean, of course, one could argue that anyone could use Praetorians and Urbans, but there are a couple of moments in this battle where my opponent showed that he didn't just have a good faction, he used them very well. He used systems of reserves, and he used some interesting cavalry. He mixed his cavalry, he brought a balanced army, essentially, a balanced Roman army, which is good to see. And I think it was an exciting battle. I'm gonna do 2 battles, actually. In the meantime, while we load up the other one, let's talk about Carthage. This is how I view Carthage, really. And you know, those of you out there who are like a little bit more historian are gonna probably start bashing on me, but whatever. This is how I view Carthage. Carthage was like a naval superpower kind of thing going on between, like, I don't know, 6th century to like 1st century BC, and they really did fight almost everybody. They fought the Greeks, they fought that guy from Epirus, they fought the Romans, they fought everybody. It seemed that Carthage was always at war, but they also had a lot of allies. And I think they would probably be most famous for the Sicilian Wars, the Pyrrhic Wars, and of course the Punic Wars. And it's always funny to think how, I mean, when I took a Roman army course in my university, and I always remember how my professor mentioned how the Punic Wars started, and it was basically this: Rome lost a race to take a really valuable piece of land. So they were angry at Carthage because Carthage, basically, if you guys played Monopoly before, Carthage got Mayfair first. That's essentially what happened. Carthage, there was, I think the port, it was called Messana, I think, and there was like a mercenary group of people. I can't remember exactly the exact details, but essentially there was like a new faction, sort of like a new faction, a new force to be reckoned with in the Mediterranean. And half of them said, okay, let's go with Rome, and the other half said, let's go with Carthage. And so Carthage really did cash in on that as fast as they could, and they sent a garrison into Messana, and they sailed into Messana, and they took control of that, and the Romans were angry. So here's another battle. I'm using the exact same build, nothing is different, and my opponent has a peculiar build. Like, look at this. This is kind of, I guess, it shows you the choices that people make. So my opponent here has 3 archer auxilia, gold, 5, is it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, he has 3 urban cohorts, so heavily upgraded, and then 2 triarii, so heavily upgraded, and then 1 Praetorian cav, so heavily upgraded. So he is going with the extreme. And I know this doesn't really count as a victory because this person obviously doesn't really know what they're doing. But I figured 1 loss and 1 win kind of give you an idea of how I think Carthage should be played in this game. A very strong infantry core. These sacred bands can really stand up to Urbans. If you put them on guard mode, they might not do as well, I think. Or actually, they might give you more time if you put them on guard mode. But when you take guard mode off, they're actually a very, very potent unit, and they do well against all types of infantry in this game. They'll stand up against anything, really, barring, you know, berserkers slamming into them. So my opponent here is using his Praetorian cav, and look what I do. I get him on the hill here. I do have a hill position. I'm swinging one of my long shields around. I'm going to smash in there, and completes around, and now he's going to lose his cavalry unit. There's some action, and I think I do switch to secondary weapon very shortly. Yep, there we go. There come the swords. And if you don't know how to do that, you press Alt and you attack a unit. That brings out secondary weapon. Swords are better in close range after you commit the charge. There goes my enemy's general, and now he's trying to chase with his triarii. while his weak core is just sitting there exposed. And at this stage, I probably could have just pushed my line forward to avoid basically getting shot senseless by his archer auxilia, but that doesn't matter. Here these guys are still shooting. So yeah, Carthage has a very good infantry corps. Their supporting units, I don't know. I like that one unit of cav that they have. It's kind of like the militia cav of the Greeks. They could be kind of useful. But their slingers aren't too great. Their skirmishers aren't too great. They really do excel at cavalry and infantry. They've got 3 types of cav that all can be used to different modes or different sort of purposes. The Sacred Band is your standard heavy cav. They've got the long shields and then they've got the round shields. Each of them has a different sort of purpose, and that gives you a lot of leeway with how you can use your cav. So here we go. I'm just gonna slam into my opponent's back line here. I don't know, do I put the phalanx down in time? Just now. Kind of late, but that doesn't matter. Take my guys off of guard mode, and I think I'm just going to oh, he catches me here with his Triarii, surprisingly. So as you saw, I mean, this is kind of interesting because it's giving us a little bit of insight too about how the Roman factions should and should not be played. The last player that I fought, he had reserves. Those reserves, they fended off my cavalry really well, and then after my cavalry died, he used the reserves to flank around my phalanx, because the urban cohorts give you that leeway. They allow you to fight against the phalanx head on for a while. They'll hold their own, and sometimes even win if they can get a little bit of us around. And that's exactly what my previous opponent did. He used his units in close proximity to his line and made sure that I couldn't get those critical hammer and anvil charges. And that's something you really got to keep in mind with Carthage, is that you need to be able to have a lot of cav, and you need really the cav superiority paired with your Sacred Band infantry, and then you should be able to clean up kind of like this. But again, this opponent is obviously not and I'm not trying to like bash my opponent or anything. I'm just saying the previous player was a lot more skilled than this guy. Croatian general. I think the other opponent was called, oh man, can't believe I can't remember, but you could probably see it. I'll probably mention it in the description. So that's 2 different Carthage battles for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of mocking history and the little bit of info about how Carthage should be played as a faction. And this build, unlike my previous builds where I would go around look for I looked at Kitty SN's video. This build is a build that I've been using for a very long time for Carthage, and it works really well. And it really does well even against Rome. If you can micro well, you could pretty much beat Rome. Like the guy I fought last time, I probably maybe could have beat him if I microed a little bit better. But then again, not really all that good at this game anymore. There is the statistics screen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to give me a recommendation on the next faction that you want to see in Road to Rome 2. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you all next time.